But here's the thing. Yeah, because in that play, if I remember correctly, Travis kind of got strung out to the sideline and then just tried to make something happen, and it wasn't there. If this were a year ago, maybe with the struggles that Fitzgerald was having, but Ryan is amazing this year. Like year over year, he's easily the best player, most improved player on the team. Like I have no hesitation in saying that because most people were ready to run him out of Tallahassee last year.
It's third and Nole. We came together, all three of us reaching for one common goal. This is our show. Listen, you might get perspective of something that you didn't know. We gonna go all the way real with the topics. When you see Witty, P. Austin, and Crockett, pressure good blisters, we stay in the pocket. Picture the run to the quarterback option. Organic process, listen and watch us. Everyone welcome, this is our casa. First and goal, second we throw. Short a few yards, third and Nole. Third and Nole, third and Nole, third and Nole.
Welcome to the post-Duke beatdown edition of Third and Nole. Man, listen, to stay number 4, top 5 team, top 20 matchup in Doak Campbell Stadium, electric atmosphere, just incredible night kickoff in Doak. Just amazing, man. Let's talk about the Duke game, guys. First of all, let me start by saying tailgating atmosphere was fun. There was kind of a buzz in the air around Tallahassee. It was homecoming game. There was it was sold out, right? So there were a lot of people around, a lot of people tailgating, good environment. Get in the stadium. There was actually a long line to get in the stadium, which is usually a good sign, right? That means there's going to be a lot of people packing Doak. Man, the interesting thing is they had a really cool flyover this game, really cool flyover. But they didn't do it at the end of the national anthem, which I don't remember them ever doing. They did it at the end of the player introductions. Just kind of odd, but they had a cool helicopter flyover, a couple of Blackhawks and I think it's a 53, the dual rotor helicopter. So that was a cool kickoff to a really good night. How you guys doing?
7 is the number of completion. 7 is the number of completion. 7-0, perfect season thus far. I'm great.
Hey, what did I say in the text message right at the end? Just win, baby.
Just win.
Just win, baby. What do you think, Phil?
I agree. I mean, we said it last week, right? At this point, we don't care if we win by 1 point every week. Just keep winning. I think there are some things, of course, during the game we'd like to see, and we actually did see them later, so I don't really have any complaints.
So last week's preview of the Duke game, the big question was surrounding whether or not Riley Leonard was going to play, and I think we all assumed he would not. I think one of you guys said that if given the position, even with a high ankle sprain, put some meds in me, let me go, coach, right? I mean, I think one or both of you guys may have said it. But I think the question was his mobility is such an important part of his game, and how effective could he be against Florida State running the ball if he was going to try to give it a go. The morning of the game, so yesterday morning, even on ESPN, they said that game time decision, but doubtful, I think was what they said. And, kickoff time, 7:30 Eastern rolls around, and Riley Leonard is the starting quarterback. So when you saw that he was starting, did you have any immediate reaction to that? What were your thoughts?
Yep. Soon as I saw that he was going to be starting, I knew it was going to be more difficult for us. I wasn't so much worried because I knew his mobility would be severely limited, and I was doubtful that he would be able to finish the game. But I definitely knew that we were going to be in for a dogfight.
Dogfight it was. Phil, did you have any instant thoughts when you saw Riley was playing?
Man, let's get it. I really wasn't worried, truthfully. Just let's get it.
So, first drive, obviously we received the kickoff. We went for it on fourth down, and what are your thoughts on that play call? Like, obviously, I recognize we're at midfield, I think, when we went for it on fourth down. What were your thoughts? I mean, what do you think? You agree with that in the first drive? You received the kickoff, right? And you have an opportunity to score first. But what are your thoughts there?
I didn't like the call. I like coach's overall decision. So in the grand scheme of things, I do think he makes good fourth down decisions. But going up against Duke We know what their defense kind of is. I didn't think that was the time to go for it.
The first one, I didn't necessarily have a problem with us going for it, but once again, man, this is the seventh game. If our O line can't get a push, put Jordan Travis in a run pass situation. I don't understand why you continue, especially on 4th and 1, to try to hand the ball off. I don't care if it's wildcat, if it's under center from the shotgun, we're not getting the push. So stop trying to run it on 4th and 1. Put it in Jordan's hands.
Yeah, agree. I mean, we know that he is such a good runner that it's not like, I mean, if Rodemaker, we talked about this last week, right? If it were Rodemaker or one of the other quarterbacks who we don't know how they run, then maybe some of those other schematic things would work. But I agree with you. I think I don't mind going for it. I didn't like the play call. And I hate to say it, but that's been kind of a theme for the last few 4th down tries is didn't mind the analytics of going for it. I just didn't love how we tried to get it. And who knows, man? Chestnut checkers, right? Maybe it's a matter of putting things on film for other opponents. But at the end of the day, man, give it to 13. Let him do what he does. So we're unsuccessful in our first drive. We give the ball to them. They go down, correct me if I'm wrong here, kick a field goal on their first possession to just take a 3-0 lead. Oh, no, they scored a touchdown. They scored they scored a touchdown on an egregious hold by their left tackle on Kalen DeLoach that the left tackle proceeded to throw his hands up in the so-guilty I didn't do that following a hold. I cannot believe they didn't call that. I mean, I don't know if the commentator said anything about it, but in the game I was like, DeLoach just got held bad. And then on the replay, DeLoach did, in fact, get held really, really bad.
Yeah, it was that was when my eyes really was like, oh, Lord, here we go. Our defense for the last several games have really been starting, really locked in. Of course, there's the hold there, but kind of what the commentators pointed out, it just seemed like there wasn't great pursuit to the ball after the missed tackle on the sideline. You just didn't see the urgency, and it resulted in 6.
Yeah, so to paint the picture for you, Woody, what Hershey was talking about was how on the ball side, Cypress took a bad angle and then contained, but then they showed a pan shot of Renardo Green and AZ on the other side, like jogging, thinking pretty much that the defense was going to tackle them. And once they realized it wasn't going to happen, then they went full throttle to try to meet him at the goal line. And his point was, it was a terrible effort for the first 15 yards and pretty much saying Florida State's ranked number 4. They can't come out playing this lazy against this Duke team.
Well, I mean, I don't know about so I didn't catch that. So that I'm appreciative of that perspective. I'll tell you who did hustle his ass off that play was Pat Payton to get down there and attempt to make that tackle, which was really close, by the way. The touchdown was I'm not going to say it's questionable. I think it was a touchdown, but it was close enough they should have looked at it. But again, I think you said that you had some questions, or maybe you or Croc just said, I began to have some questions when me began to have questions when I saw Jeff Flanagan was the damn ref.
Well, see, I didn't even realize it until he made the first call on TV.
Man.
And then I was like, oh, boy, here we go.
I saw it in the pregame. I can't remember a Jeff Flanagan-led officiating crew that has ever treated Florida State fair and then not had egregiously bad calls. Like, I don't remember it. Because I'm pretty sure he was the crew that threw the phantom clipping
Dalvin,
call
right?
on Dalvin Cook against Clemson. I think that's the crew that against Wake Forest a few years ago just moved the ball forward 2 yards on a short, on a play. I mean, it's just unbelievable. So when I saw Flanagan was the official, I was concerned immediately. And then when on their first drive they did not call that hold, I'm like, here we go. Here we go with the Flanagan crew. So they go and score a first touchdown to put them up 7-0. It is what it is. I mean, I tell you, I wasn't so concerned about going down 7-0 for a variety of reasons. It is what it is, right? And it's not, the game has not certainly gotten away from you. The second drive that we had, I don't want to say that I felt concerned, but what I can say is that the atmosphere in Doak, the buzz kind of died down, right? And if you're a visiting team, visiting a hostile environment, that's what you want. You want to take the air out of the crowd. And when we were unsuccessful on our second drive to do anything, and they went down and went up 10-0, 100% that took the air out of the crowd. I mean, the buzz kind of died down a little bit, and I don't want to say I was concerned, but it was just one of those things like, this could turn into something. So I mean, again, any thoughts, fast forwarding through that and kind of what that looked like?
I know when I watched it, I was at an event that I was hosting. I was watching it in the kitchen area, and our chef is a Gator fan, and he was big excited at this point, to the point where I started getting a little anxious, a little anxiety, and I left. I was like, I'm not getting ready to be around a Gator fan while we are not having the success that I thought we were going to have. The touchdown, it didn't really impact me. I'm thinking a busted play. All right, we about to lock in. But then we started to not be able to move the ball, and I'm like, okay, hold on, this isn't going to be as easy as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Now you fast forward to we get the ball and go 85 yards on our next possession. It was nice to see Keziah Holmes in the game early, and I'm gonna say it, man. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna put it out there. Don't at me. Don't direct message me. Right now, today, after the Duke game, Trey Benson was I'm going to say the fourth best running back in Garnet Gold this past weekend. Maybe tied for third, but from my eyes, Toa Philly was easily one. Holmes looked to me to be number two. Hill was number three. Trey looked timid. And everything that we had been begging for, and then we saw a couple weeks ago with his 200-yard game against Virginia Tech, it wasn't there, man. And he just looked timid. I don't understand. I mean, what did it look like on TV, guys?
Same thing we've seen the last 2 weeks, and from the beginning of the season, he looks hesitant. It almost looks like if it's not open for him to take off, he's going to try to find another lane. Like, it's almost like he tries to avoid contact. And it's like I don't think he realizes that he's 220 pounds. It's almost what it seems like.
Correct. But I want to get your opinion on this too, but I saw on one of the message boards, someone compared Benson to Emmitt Smith. In that, if you remember Emmitt Smith when we were kids, he was so patient behind the line reading his blocks. That's what made him a highly successful NFL running back, right? That he had that Dallas Cowboys offensive line that he could be patient behind, right? And then he would pick a spot and go. For someone to compare, I'll call it the timidness of Trey Benson with the methodical approach of Emmitt Smith was laughable to me. First of all, don't compare Florida State to any Gator player. But two, come on, man. I just don't see it, man. We've seen one good game from Trey Benson this year, and that's not what any of us expected.
I think Benson is who he is. I think he even admitted, he primarily uses his speed. That's what he leans on, rather. And with our inability to really move the line of scrimmage, for various reasons. It seemed like this game I didn't see Scott and I didn't see Harris. So various reasons. But throughout the year, we have not been able to open up the lanes successfully that we would have liked to in most cases. So if it's congested, if it's not a clean hole, his vision is just not there. That's just who he is. I think we maybe thought he would take a step as he is playing the position, getting more reps. But at this point, if JT's not going to be an option, nobody's going to respect JT, and then the line is not going to create. He's just not the back. He's not number one, running back number one, like you said, 3 or 4 right now.
Which is crazy because, like, if you're a smaller running back, I get it, but it's not like Trey Benson hasn't made people bounce off of him. Like he's physically. I mean, like last season, he led the nation in like yards after a broken tackle. So you know you're hard to bring down, but yet you avoid contact. Like you can't be that size and not want to inflict punishment on the defense. That's how you wear a defense down.
If you think about it, Phil, those tackles that he breaks, they're like arm tackles. I haven't seen him really drop that shoulder.
He's not Adrian Peterson breaking tackles.
Not even was that Keziah? Was that game one when Keziah dropped the shoulder at the end of a round
It was I think it was Rodney Hill.
But my point is,
it was Hill.
Because you're right.
We haven't seen him drop the shoulder.
You're right. I agree with you 100%. But my point is, even with all of those arm tackles he broke last year, it's like he's even avoiding arm tackles at this point. Like he's not breaking he's not even breaking arm tackles this season. That's crazy.
Listen, what I will say is I'm really glad to see Keziah get touches early because I feel like when he's had opportunities, he's looked really good. Now, earlier in the season, I don't know if it was him not understanding the protections or if he didn't, he's still kind of the new guy in the running back room. If he was maybe didn't understand all the play, whatever the case may be. Like he was on the team last year, right? So you wouldn't think it would be a play issue, but something was holding him back from getting touches because I feel like when Keziah touches the ball, he does something with it, right? I feel like he is, I don't know, man. I feel like when you look at a combination of Toafili, Hill, and Holmes, those three are outplaying Trey Benson right now. All three of them. And I will say this, I feel like I have a new nickname for Rodney Hill, and I'm going to start calling him High Step Hill because he takes the handoff. In the backfield, he does a high step for no reason before making his first move, and it's so funny to me. He did it every time in the game. Go back and watch it. High Step Hill likes to high step upon taking the ball before hitting the hole. So Keziah Holmes cuts the lead 10-7. And that's the score to close out the first quarter. Florida State. And on that drive with Keziah Holmes, Keziah looked good. Basically, any running back not named Benson looked pretty good on that drive. And I tell you what, man, I've come to appreciate it. And I'm not going to say that I in any way questioned his ability, but Toafili is electric. Like that kid, now he's not going to get the tough 2 yards. I don't know that you want him running in that space. That's not really what he's built for between the tackles. But man, that kid is an absolutely electric runner. And if he has space, he's like really, really, really good. Really good.
Yeah.
That's why he's on my team.
We have to find a way to continue to give him the touches needed for him to be impactful in this space. That's what this offense is supposed to be about. Getting the playmakers the football in space to make plays. And I believe he's a special talent because he's kind of a jack of all trades. We got to continue to find innovative ways to get him the football.
I agree. I wish they do a good job of it. They're actually starting to hand him the ball more because before it was a lot more, sweeps and screens. And put him in the slots, but they're actually starting to just put him in the backfield and hand him the ball more, which I think is a big result of the trust that they're losing in Benson.
Completely agree. I think it's a cause and effect, right? Like Benson's carries are going down, and therefore they got to go to somebody. And I think Toafili is deserving, right? Like I think he deserves the ball. So we cut the lead. We cut the lead to 10-7. And then we have a poor – first of all, let me give a quick shout-out. Their punter was stupid. I don't know how it looked on TV, but when my dude kicked the ball, I mean, he was booming them.
It was.
We get backed up.
Are we not going to talk about the heinous second?
Oh, no, we're getting there. I just want to make – oh yeah. Well,
that part.
That was pretty bad. Let's go.
Where were we at? Like our 30 something?
Yeah.
I can't believe we went for that.
And we went for it.
And then the play, was it a pass? I mean,
terrible play call.
It wasn't even like 4th and 1 though.
It was like 4th and 3.5.
That 3 or 4.
Yeah. And like
and
a
it wasn't
year.
a run through option, seemed like.
Agree. But here's the thing. Yeah, because in that play, if I remember correctly, Travis kind of got strung out to the sideline and then just tried to make something happen, and it wasn't there. If this were a year ago, maybe with the struggles that Fitzgerald was having, but Ryan is amazing this year. Like year over year, he's easily the best player, most improved player on the team. Like I have no hesitation in saying that because most people were ready to run him out of Tallahassee last year. He's hit every single kick this year, right? And he's boomed some long ones. I think in that space you kick the ball. And so, I didn't like the play call. I don't mind Norvell's aggressiveness and using the analytics to go for it. Again, maybe even a 4th and 3. I didn't like it at the 30, but the play call. I just am not in love with what we're doing when we get in those positions. So, we're in a position where we get backed up deep in the second quarter. The ball bounces off of Keon. I think it was a 3rd down play, pick 6. And as deflated as the whole stadium felt when it was 10-0, I think we hit an all-time low in Doak for the night when that pick 6 happened because we weren't really doing much offensively to move the ball with great success. And I'll be honest with you, the stats didn't necessarily meet the eye test because I felt like they were running on us fairly successfully, and they had far outrushed us in the first half. And I felt like while their passing numbers weren't off the charts, they were efficient. I mean, he was hitting passes when he needed to keep them moving. And so, again, it just felt like things were starting to look, I don't know, just this uneasy feeling in your stomach when that pick 6 happened because you're just like everything that could go wrong is starting to go wrong, right? And when Jordan Travis, who I don't think has ever thrown a pick 6, does that, that it's a bad sign.
But I mean, let's be honest. This year he's had some very questionable throws that defenders just didn't pick off.
Yes.
Dropped him.
Yes.
And this was one of those tight window throws. I don't necessarily think the play call was the greatest.
Well, he got pressured. He got pressured and just tried to make something happen, though. I think.
Yeah.
But so back to your point, though. Back to your point.
Space. I didn't like the decision, and it was bound to happen. I mean, how many times are guys going to drop interceptions sooner or later?
Yeah, but I think in this instance, though, it's a little bit different because it bounced off of. I mean, he threw a rocket. It was a bad play, right? Like he threw a hard pass in a tight window, bounces up in the air, easy pick 6. And what's something I think Coach Norvell always talks about the response, and I think usually coming into halftime or at the end of the game, he talks about a response, needing a response. And I tell you what, so as deflated as the stadium was when that pick 6 happened, Deuce Spans, or if you're Chris Fowler, you call him Spawn, Deuce Spawn's 99-yard kickoff return was a damn response.
Absolutely. It was crazy because, and they went back to it after he scored the touchdown, but during the pregame, they showed the coaches talking to the team, and he was talking to Deuce. He was like, hey, remember, get comfortable with it in your left hand. He said, use that right hand as a stiff arm. He's like, get comfortable, hold it tight. And this was like in the pregame. And, and then during the postgame when they were talking to Braden Fisk, because he was in on that play on the kick return. And that was the only one he was in on. And he said, yeah, Norvell really runs the special teams meetings. And he said this week, he told Deuce, I have a feeling you're going to get a chance this week. He said, be ready. You're going to get a chance this week. I have that feeling. And he's like, we see something on film. You have a chance.
Phil, you just gave me chills. The prophetic nature that Norvell had in calling that, speaking it to existence. It was weird. I will say it was kind of weird at the game where you got Hill back there and then Deuce back there and then Hill back there. And then, like, we were like, what's going on here? And it's just kind of crazy to see, again, when obviously we got Braden Fisk on a kickoff return. I don't know that he's done that all year. They roll him out for that when something good happens. He absolutely destroyed his block, by the way, which, that's why he's out there. And then it's fun because you remember the Deloach fumble recovery against fumble touchdown, scoop and score against Clemson. Fisk can run. and to watch him attempt to catch Span on the kickoff, running behind him in celebration, and to watch Hakeem run across the field. And I don't know, it was kind of reminiscent of a certain big play where there was a different Williams running next to a kickoff return when Kermit ran it back in the national championship game and Carlos was next to him. So seeing Hakeem in the frame with Deuce's touchdown. And let me tell you something, man. Deuce has elite speed. And if my man can learn to catch the ball consistently and turn into a wide receiver, it really can excite you about what his future holds, because there was nobody within 12 yards of him when he crossed the goal line. I mean, he absolutely skated.
I think we have a good problem in that we have two elite wide receivers. And the problem is we haven't really been able to see Span on the field. I think this year we would have been able to see that speed on display a little more. But big shout out to Coach for creating opportunities for his speed to get a chance to make plays. And if I was anxious going into the half, like just seeing Span, because that happened in our first drive in the second half, no?
This was the Span touchdown was in the second quarter. Yeah. So that brought the score.
First quarter, bro.
That first quarter, it was 3. I think each team had 3 possessions in the first quarter.
Wow.
Yeah. So
the first quarter.
The scoring drive went touchdown Duke, field goal Duke, 10-0. Keziah Holmes had his touchdown to make it 10-7. Then they had the pick 6 to make it 17-7.
Okay.
And then the kickoff return 17-14. And then we actually hold them on the ensuing drive after that. And then Ryan comes, Fitzgerald comes in, does what he does, kicks a 32-yard field goal to make it 17-all. And then I think after that there were a couple of drives that kind of stalled out. And then Duke kicks a field goal to go up 20-17 at half.
Yeah. After the kick return, in that moment I was good. I'm like, okay, all right, we're back. I mean, we needed a spark. Offense was kind of sputtering. We got the spark we needed. We're gonna be all right.
Yeah, I just kept saying to myself, at this point, once we go up, if we could just take the lead and flip the pressure back to them, it's over.
I think it was also in the second quarter. You guys remember? And this is probably going back to middle school basketball. Remember the drill you did where you would have to take the ball and go around your back, and then you kind of lean down and go around your ankles?
Yes.
I feel like Biscuit tried to channel his earlier days of playing basketball with that drill. How in the heck did he catch that? Like, how did he control it? Because I have no idea.
That is a very underrated athletic hand-eye coordination catch for a 280-pound human being. Like, that's just crazy.
So I didn't see it at first because of the way the play happened. It was kind of across the field from us, and it looked like he dropped it, right? Like, I saw him lean down. I was like, oh, like, come on, Mark Houston, you got to catch that. And then all of a sudden I see him running forward and getting tackled. I'm like, what just happened? And then on the replay, I'm like, are you kidding me? Unbelievable effort by Douglas, and that was in the second quarter. So we go into half. It's 17-20. They get the ball back to start the second half. And again, it's one of those things that first drive of the third quarter, we had to have a stop. And it's just one of those things that we really couldn't let them go up 2 scores and get confident. Man, our second half defense this year, Tom Block, who's a sideline reporter for Florida State, does the call-in shows and all that stuff. Tom Block tweeted out Points allowed by FSU's starting defense, and this is according to Tom Block, in the second half this year. Okay, so listen to this. Second half, LSU 0, Southern Miss 0, Boston College 13, Clemson 7, Tech 0, Virginia Tech, Syracuse 0, Duke 0. We've given up 20 points in 7 games in the second half. And those 20 points came in 2, Clemson and Boston College. So we haven't given up any points in the second half in the last 3 games, which is just really, really incredible. We've talked about the response that the defense has had this year in the second half, and this game was further proof that they get in at halftime and something happens. And I'm willing to maybe eat a little bit of crow on how we felt earlier in the year on Coach Fuller. And I think, in the responded segment a couple weeks ago, somebody called out Coach Fuller. Hey, we still have lapses. There's still some communication issues, but I feel like when the team is focused, when they have communications, they absolutely buckle down, and they do it when they have to in the second half.
Playing good defense more than they're playing bad defense. Like, nobody's going to play every possession locked in. Like, that's difficult. And this team, though we have great hopes and aspirations this year and we're looking really good, this team is learning how to win games. It's still a team that has not collectively had a whole lot of success as a program. So it's just a learning process. It's something that we, as long as we win, we're gonna have to be okay. So I'm still Team Fuller. Yeah, they got off to a little start on us, but when it was time to lock down and do enough, that's what we did.
And I tell you what, while it didn't show up a lot in the stat book, Braden Fisk was an absolute monster. I feel like we say that every week, but he was an absolute monster on the defensive line. Pat Payton had a hell of a game, just kind of looking across the defense. Tatum Bethune, and again, not necessarily all plays that just threw up incredible stats, but those guys from way out, from how I could see it, even Akeem Dent had a really good game just in position and getting in the right space at times. So anyway, the defense just absolutely locked down. Not a ton of activity. I mean, there were no points scored in the third quarter. A couple things. Let me say this. It's weird. At the end of the third quarter, clock hits 0 in Doak. There's always a tradition. And I didn't realize until this past weekend, I looked around and the entire stadium was holding up 4 fingers, calling for Keon Coleman to have an impact in the game. So you look around, everybody's holding up 4 fingers, they're playing a song, and I just look at everybody holding up 4 as a tribute to Keon. And what a magician catch. What a ridiculous catch that he caught on the pass interference call, where it looked like the entire play was shielded from him, and he ends up catching a one-handed catch. Yeah. Right? Unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, elite talent and wide receiver equals elite plays. And though they were bracketing him when it was time to make plays, he did it. He made it, and it was open. Jordan overthrew him a no-on-one.
Yes.
It might have even been 6 or close to it. But man, that guy, you take him. Even though your wide receiver room you felt good about, he pops in the portal, you take him.
Have to, right? Johnny Wilson, after, who was it, Southern Miss, where he just had his really, really, really bad game, has done nothing but caught everything since. And meaningful catches. So I hated to see him go out of the game because, again, you feel like Johnny has turned the corner. You could tell, and listen, I'm not taking anything away from Mike Elko and that Duke defense. You could tell they were hell-bent on not letting Wilson and Coleman beat them. They did everything they could to bracket them so that they were they tried to minimize those guys' impact. So I really hated to see Wilson go down. I couldn't tell what happened. I know that he was out for a while before they let him come back in. So did you guys have any insight on what you saw on TV?
Says a head injury.
Oh, they did confirm that?
When they showed him walking off the field, the sideline reporter said it was most likely a head injury.
Well, we know everybody knows what that means, but that's now in 3 weeks, right?
Well, I'm sorry. She said
was-
upper body injury. No, the first one was a concussion.
Oh, it was. It wasn't lower.
It was a concussion. The first one was a concussion.
Oh.
Yeah, so that seemingly, a little speculation on our part, but seemingly that's a couple concussions in 3 weeks. So, my man Johnny, I'm okay. Hey, sit out.
He'll be out for a while.
Sit out for a couple games, my guy. We need you back for the 11th of November in that game against Miami. So, fourth quarter, our offense, and listen, man, huge kudos to Jordan Travis, because you could tell in the second half and really in the fourth quarter, he put the game on his shoulders. He locked in passing the ball, made much better passes, ran the ball with authority, pulled the ball when he needed to pull the ball. Like, Jordan Travis looked like as good of a Jordan Travis as you'll see making decisions, especially in the fourth quarter. And I mean, he was. You could tell he willed the team to put the effort on the field to get the win Saturday night. Oh, and by the way, became Florida State's all-time leading yards holder, passing Chris Winkie after his performance against Duke.
That's crazy.
Yeah. That 14 play, 96-yard drive to give Florida State the lead in the fourth quarter. So we're pinned deep. Okay, let's talk about the injury to Riley Leonard. In watching the replay, it was kind of hard to see how, obviously Braden Fisk just completely, I mean, when the defensive line has to walk over and hand you your helmet, that's a pretty egregious face mask. I couldn't tell how he hurt his ankle, but it was very obvious that it happened immediately.
When Braden Fisk snatched off his helmet, Riley, like, when he was like backpedaling, like on like his last step, he stepped on, I think it was Peyton's ankle, and rolled it.
Yeah, it was. So here's the thing: we talked about the questionable decision on some of our fourth down plays. So Riley Leonard goes out. Duke ends up with the ball inside the 5-yard line. They have 5 shots. They run the ball, expected. They run the ball, expected. You got your backup quarterback in. Third down, they run the ball, expected. They went for it on fourth down inside the 5-yard line with a backup quarterback. I was mind blown. Like, so if we're criticizing Norvell, I'm sure there's a bunch of Duke fans. If there's any Duke football fans, they got to be questioning that one.
I don't think they are. I'm gonna tell you why. I feel like it was the ultimate disrespect. In the moment they did it, the first thing I said out loud to myself was, they're trying to Syracuse us. They're saying, if we don't get it, oh well, they're not going to go 96 yards. My team's going to get the ball back anyway. That was his exact mindset, because to that point, they were essentially shutting our offense down. And his mindset,
good, yeah.
He tried to Syracuse us.
Yeah. Great point, Phil. And I was feeling disrespected, even as we were just talking about it. Like, man, he really tried to go for it on fourth down with a backup quarterback. But then it hit me. Why not? Why not? Because it wasn't until that next drive that Jordan's legs were activated.
That's true.
And if his legs aren't activated, the offense struggles. Against this Duke team was dialed in for us. And with us not being as smooth as we would have liked, the offensive line not being able to get a push, without Travis's legs, we probably wouldn't have gone 95 yards.
That ensuing drive, though, with Jordan Travis using his legs effectively, right? Making the right reads, effectively running, and then he caps it off with a touchdown run. I mean, that, I don't want to say it was the turning point in the game. I guess it was. I mean, we were leading at that time, but that was the point in time where Duke was over. They were done when we drove the field. Now, keep in mind, even with Riley Leonard, they didn't score in the third quarter. So now we're in the fourth quarter, and we go 94 yards for a touchdown, or 96 yards rather, take up 6 minutes of clock in doing it to put Florida State up 24-20. That was the ball game to my mind.
Just before that last drive, my exact words were in the chat. It's on Jordan to rally this team. Everybody is pressing. And then guess what? No, then I said we need. Oh yeah, Phil was like, one big run by him will ignite them. I said that's it. We need UF last year, JT. We need him to show up.
There it is.
And what happens?
And there it is.
JT shows up. The entire team feeds off of it, and now we're talking about 7-0 feels great.
And Hershey was talking about it during the drive. He was like, Riley Leonard. Everybody talks about Riley Leonard and him not being able to use his legs and that being his strength. He was like, Jordan Travis has so many weapons, people forget what he can do with his legs. And literally it was crazy because then they started like play after play, almost after every time he ran the ball, they would show you a replay of how the defense is reacting, assuming he's not going to run because he hasn't been running. And so it's like literally like on the one big third down where he kept it, like everybody crashed on the running back. And they're not used to Jordan running the ball. And he
Is that
kept
when they
it.
sent the blitz? Is that when they sent
the corner
or the
blitz?
safety?
Yeah.
It was either corner or safety.
Yeah, the safety went straight for the running back, and Jordan just skipped for the first down. And they're totally forgetting that Jordan Travis he has legs.
I do want to call out, because as we're talking, the game kind of wraps up. There's Toa Philly had an incredible catch and run there in the fourth quarter to give us a cushion. And then obviously Rodney Hill put the final nail in the coffin in the fourth quarter. But I think we would be remiss if we didn't call out specifically Shaheem Brown's interception was huge, absolutely huge. Also, Jaheim Bell had a day. I felt like he made a ton of plays. And on Jordan Travis's touchdown run, it was Bell who was in the backfield with Travis. And it was an obvious design that Bell was blocking for him. And he took that role seriously because he absolutely dominated his block to spring Travis for his touchdown. So
did you see what he was doing before his block?
What you mean? With Bell?
So, yes. So first in the post game, he was saying, like, he told Jordan before the play, like, follow me, I got you. And so if you watch the replay, like, as soon as he turns the corner, even though he's running forward, he's waving his arm, like to Jordan, come on, get behind me. Like, he's running, but he's waving his arm, like, get behind me, get behind me. And then he makes the block. And I'm just like, come on, man. Like, that's insane.
Jaheim Bell is just a huge addition. And I'll tell you something, and they were talking about this in the post-game wrap-up on the radio last night leaving the game, that the culture of this team and the fact that you have guys like Keon Coleman. Keon Coleman had a hell of a block in the game. Like, when you have – as a matter of fact, let me say something. Keon Coleman, the respect that they were giving him, and I forget which touchdown it was, but – we had three players lined up on the right side. It was Coleman. It may have been.
I think that was.
I don't know if it was Toa Philly.
It wasn't Toa Philly.
It was Keziah Holmes.
It was Holmes' touchdown.
Yeah, because that was a little screen pass. But when you look at, if you watch the replay of that play specifically, they respected so much. They were playing so far off of Coleman, Wilson, and I forget it. I don't know if it was Douglas or who was the other receiver over there. It could have been Morlock flexed out. But when they dropped back, Keziah Holmes was able to walk in because of the respect they had to show to our wide receiving core. they were not going to get beat by them. They couldn't press. So as soon as those guys cleared the set, Keziah Holmes had a pretty easy touchdown. So again, it's just the little things. And when Norvell talks about the culture of what you're doing when you don't have the ball, he made that comment after the game. He's like, it's not just a matter of what you do when you have the ball, but it's what you do when you don't have the ball. Like the plays that it's not your number being called. Are you still putting forth the effort? And you look at guys like Jaheim Bell, who had 8 catches and 50-something yards. Keon Coleman didn't have the greatest production on the night. Ja'Kai Douglas didn't have the greatest production on the night. But all those guys had meaningful plays where they were blocking their tails off. They were used as decoys, whatever the case may be. And that goes back to the culture that Norvell has built in making sure they're getting the right guys in the program. Let's do a quick responded, and then we can wrap up with fantasy. So remember, rules are someone who responded in your eyes and someone who needs to respond. And you can't duplicate someone else's answer. I think Croc went first last time. Phil, I'll let you go.
I don't think I went first. I think
I'm gonna let Phil go. I'm gonna let Phil go. Responded, Phil. You got
responded. I'm gonna go with Jordan Travis using his legs. Finally, he used his legs to take over the fourth quarter. And once again, there's nothing the defense can do about it. Because once they start paying attention to his legs, it opens up a lot more things. And I don't think we would have won that game had he not started using his legs. Because we were dragging. Respond. Name anybody on the offensive line run blocking. Just we have to figure it out, because as we start talking ACC championships and hopefully the playoffs, if we can't hand the ball off to get 1 yard, we're going to be in trouble.
Agree. And maybe that's the reason why our fourth down play calling has been suspect, because maybe Norvell knows it shouldn't be, right. We have the most starts in the offensive line in the country, like by a wide margin. Shouldn't be the case, man, but I agree with you. Croc, since you went first last time, I'm gonna go second this time, since we can't duplicate answers. I'm gonna Trey Benson. I need you to respond, sir. I need Virginia Tech Trey Benson. I need latter half 2022 Trey Benson. I need to see what we know you are capable of being, Trey Benson. Responded. I'm gonna go with Jaheim Bell, because again, just not only did he make some big catches, he made some big blocks. He made some big decoy moves. Like Jaheim Bell played a heck of a ball game, and so maybe not necessarily showing up on the stat line, but the things that he was able to do were impressive.
Right. Last but not least, I'm gonna go with respond. This name has been mentioned, but it was mentioned as responded. I need Jordan Travis to respond. I think he is Heisman Trophy caliber quarterback. But until he continues from start to finish to have his legs as an option on every play, I think this offense ceiling is but so high.
He did leave he left some passing yards out there too, especially in the first half.
But when teams you can't account, it's impossible to account for the deep pass, Jordan Travis, and underneath. It's just too much. So I need JT to be the quarterback that we all know he can be. This whole offseason, we said this team was super elite offensively. I think everything revolves around him. Benson runs better. Running backs run better when everybody has to respect JT's legs. So I need him to respond. And it's not a diss or anything. I just have the highest expectations for that young man. I think really highly of his ability. And then responded. I'm going to go with Phil's guy.
You can't. Oh, not his pick, his guy.
Right,
Got you.
Right.
All right, my bad.
He's been on the Shaheem Brown team from Go. And not that Shaheem hasn't been playing good football, but the secondary, we needed plays to be made. And especially out of the safety position. It just seemed like he's really starting to come to his own. The game is starting to slow down. So Shaheem, man, great game. Continue to respond, man. Continue to respond like you did on Saturday.
Respect. Let's close out with, we can announce the winner of our feedback drawing, and also yeah. And then also we can do a little fantasy. So let's go.
The fantasy is not necessary. I'm looking at the time.
Did I win? Did I win the raffle?
Let's shut up. So this week against Duke, Kalen DeLoach was your leading scorer, and he got you 7 points. And in third place this week with 27 points.
I thought we were doing the draw first.
Nah. We're going right into the. I thought you said you wanted bad news first. 27 points, Croc. That doesn't get it done in fantasy. So 27 points, good for third place this week. 27. Second place this week was yours truly. Jaheim Bell led the way for me with 13 points. I had 56 for the week. For those counting at home, that's double Crocs plus 2. And then and then Phil came in first place this week with a strong showing, 65 points. That's the strongest point total of the year thus far. Toy Philly got him 14, and Johnny Wilson before going out got him 10, and then he had a smattering of 8s and 9s. So Phil had 65 for the week. So when we go to the season totals, third place for the season, Phil, you are still in third place at 337. 337 in third place. Second place as of through week 7, Croc with 349.
Hold on, time out. How many points do I have now?
You're only down 12, Phil. You're only down 12. 337 to 349. And
I wish y'all could see the video.
And still, and new, and back to where he belongs. Back in first place. I'm now in the lead with 364. So the total is 364 me, 364, 349, 337. The margins are compressed. It is getting close. So that's where we stand for
Told you
fantasy.
It was a long season.
So, last but not least, appreciate the feedback for the podcast via email. TJ, you, sir, are the winner. I'll reach back out to you via email to see about how you want to receive this particular prize. We appreciate the feedback. Gentlemen, any closing comments? Croc, I'll let you close us out.
It's great to be a Nole as it has been all season. Like, these young men continue to respond, and sooner or later they're going to put it all together. And if they put it together, we are going to be very, very scary. So let's stay positive, y'all, and let's just embrace this team and the success that we've had thus far. It feels good to be here.
Just win and just keep winning.
Just win. Love it. All right, guys. 7-0. Onward and upward to Wake Forest next week. Looking for 8-0. 3rd and 0.
Yeah.